All right, y'all. CB here at NBS Welding, and what we're looking at is a cast aluminum engine case that needs quite a bit of work done on it. Casting number 168. This is for a 1969 Kawasaki H1, and this is an extremely rare piece. This is something you're probably going to have trouble finding another one of. It really needs to be fixed, and I really don't want to mess this up. We see here where there's a crack, and this one was pretty obvious, and this is the one that the customer had sent me a picture of right away. There's another crack in this picture that is not so easy to see, that'll show up a lot better later, and it's right over here. Now, this one that I'm drawing right now, that crack, when I fix the big crack that we're aware of, that other crack's going to get a whole lot bigger and a lot easier to see. But at this point, over there, that one on the right, it's pretty unnoticeable. And it's just a thing where that happens with stuff like this, you know, until you heat up on it, you don't always know how much damage that you've got. But if it's cracked, it's cracked. And the one good thing about fixing one crack is the expansion and contraction of the material when you weld on it is going to show that other crack. So if you've welded on 2 or 3 areas of a case like this, then by the time you've done that and you look it over for cracks, you probably did find them all, because once you've heated up on it, they'll show themselves. You want to look over it a few times. And the thing about this particular case, you know, if this was replaceable, this one would probably be a total loss. It would be a goner because it has so much damage. But it's so rare, you know, you're not gonna find another one of these. It's like we got to fix this. Got to fix the thing for the guy. Whatever it takes, it's got to happen. It does have a tremendous amount of damage, but it is repairable. I think it can be done. So, you know, we got to give her hell. But like I said, when you go around the thing and see just how much welding is here and how much damage is here, and this was before we even realized that there was more cracks than we thought. But like I said, either way, this for a 1969 Kawasaki H1. In 69, this was the fastest motorcycle you could buy. They called them the Widowmaker because they just had like nothing for a frame. This was like a feather light, 3-cylinder, 2-stroke. This thing would rip. So let's get to work on this thing. You know, we really got to get this fixed for this guy. On the cleanup work on this thing, I'd started out with this tiny little piece that had chipped off, and it actually has a bolt hole going through it. So I was able to get the right 6mm metric bolt and screw it right onto the bolt, and then put the bolt in the vise. And that trick worked really good, because it would have been tough to get the aggressive power brush against that part without being able to use that bolt and thread in order to hold it. And I actually got this thing welded on there and saved that thread. But I still think, I told the customer he should probably put a helicoil in that, because it's not a real tight thread. It's been warmed up too much. But here I'm using the low speed, low RPM rotary and the 4-inch stainless steel power brush. And there was one part right here where it was funny, because see what happened? Got a little out of hand there. Lost control of it. There wasn't any harm done, but I was glad it was the Harbor Freight blanket that got wound up and not my overalls. And then I fired it back up, and the fibers from the blanket flew everywhere. The next thing that I went into it with, I've got some of these air-powered die grinders with different bits on the end of them. This one is a little stainless steel power brush. reaches into places a little bit better. So I hit it with that too. If you'd like to buy an NBS Welding t-shirt for $25, send Boss Lady Tina an email request. nbswelding@aol.com. Well, the good news is we know it's weldable. It's contaminated and it's 56 years old and it's cast aluminum, but it's weldable. After welding that crack right there, I can verify that whatever it takes, we probably are going to be able to fix this thing, which is good news. And the interesting part in this part of the video is where this thing that didn't even look like a crack much before is obviously the heat's opened that up and made that obvious. And there earlier, you know, you could see it just a little bit there on the inside, but now you can see it everywhere. You can see it all the way across there. And obviously that's something that's going to need fixed that we didn't know was going to need fixed in the beginning, but we got to fix it all. There's a few things here in this next clip that I wanted to show you. In this part that we're watching right now, I decided to take this thing, take it apart, where I could bust the cases apart and take a look on the inside and do a little bit of welding on the inside. I did most of the welding with the two cases bolted together, and that's desirable. That way you know that things are in place where they're supposed to be. But situation like we got with these cracks, you know, it's also important to go to the inside and do some inspection work. And if there's places where you can put weld on the inside that's going to make it stronger without being in the way, you know, you're going to want to do that on something like this. And that's the situation that we've got here. And another thing where this crack seemed to get bigger when we heated it up, I am going to drill a hole on it, and I'm also going to add some weld on the other side at the end, because right here where I'm looking at now is where I was welding a minute ago. I don't see a crack continuing further there, but it's an area where a little weld ain't going to hurt it, so I'm going to put some in there. I'm going to show you in a minute where the way I do the burr bit, I didn't show a whole lot of what the burr bit work looks like, but I do gouge about halfway through with the burr bit, and I'll weld that up, and then I'll gouge the other half the way through from the other side usually, so that I'm welding to the back of my weld. And in this case, you can see here where I am drilling a hole at the end of that crack. I don't think that that's as necessary on aluminum. You don't generate, aluminum's just like, if it's cracked, it's cracked. Has been my experience. The drilling holes seems to be more important on stuff like maybe cast iron or stainless steel or something hard. The aluminum's not hard. And here we see, this is what the burr bit work looks like. You can go on my Amazon storefront and see the burr bits with the teeth that are really far apart that I use on aluminum. You don't want to use the ones for steel. They just gall up. And you'll see in my videos where I put my beeswax on my tools when I work aluminum, and it doesn't matter if it's a burr bit, a sanding pad, or what. If you put beeswax on it, that will stop it from galling up with the aluminum. Right here you can see something that happens a lot to me on these cases where I'm going in with the TIG torch one way, and I've got to put the welding rod in the other way. And sometimes I'm looking through on the side where I'm putting in the welding rod, and sometimes I'm looking through in the side where I'm putting in the torch. But that's one of the things that happens. And this shot right here, I've got the inside welded. You can see that hole is welded shut, and right there on the inside it's welded up. And then I show you after I do the burr bit work. Here I've got it gouged out, and I've gouged down into the aluminum and hit the back of the weld that I made on the inside in the places that I needed to. I can't grind, don't want to grind all the way through that one bolt sleeve, and that's not going to be necessary. I'm going to build it up with weld, but we're ready to weld this other side up now.